In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a step-by-step guide to start your health and fitness journey. I am so excited because I'm truly so passionate about this topic. Over the years of starting, failing, and restarting my own health and fitness journey many times, I feel like I've learned so much. I'm excited. Let's get straight into it. The first thing I wanted to talk about is mindset. Now, this is something I probably would have rolled my eyes at a couple years ago and been like, okay, can we get to the actual advice? But this is the actual advice. This is really important. The biggest lesson I had to learn in order to get things to really stick was that nothing will change if nothing changes. I needed to stop doing the same things and expecting different results. I feel like especially with health and fitness, it's so easy to get on this hamster wheel where we just keep doing the same things over and over, particularly the things we hear people saying on social media that are just ingrained into our mind, like these rules almost. Back when I was starting my fitness journey for probably 6 months straight, I would say, okay, I'm starting on Monday, this is it, like I'm locking in. And then every Monday would hit and I would basically not change anything, as if I was just expecting to lose weight off of my vibes. Looking back, I think the reason for this is that anytime I started to feel uncomfortable or really push myself, I would just go back to whatever I was doing before. I remember at the time I thought I was doing everything right. I thought I was eating healthy. I thought I had a great workout routine, but obviously not, because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. The biggest difference between all the times it didn't click for me and when it finally did, there are a few things actually. The first is that I had to make a real commitment to myself. I decided that I was gonna go all in and I was gonna figure it out no matter what. I also posted a YouTube video about it, which made my commitment a little bit more public. You definitely don't have to go that far, but I do feel like some level of accountability, whether you tell a friend about it, you can even make like a fitness Instagram where you track your progress and stuff. I feel like that is really helpful. But even if you just make the commitment within yourself, that was kind of like a baseline requirement for me to actually start hitting my goals. I also honestly had to get a little bit desperate. I was desperate enough that I was willing to do something different. I was willing to be uncomfortable and try new things because I got really tired of doing the same things over and over and getting the same results. I also had to throw out a lot of the misconceptions I had about health and fitness from years and years of hearing these things on social media or even just in my life, like from friends and family. I had a lot of beliefs that I had to challenge because clearly the advice I was following was not getting me where I wanted to go. For example, I thought calorie tracking was the worst thing you could ever do. I avoided it at all costs. I finally just got fed up to the point that I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna give it a try. Why not? And that was actually the thing that changed everything for me. That's not to say that calorie tracking is the end all be all, but sometimes I feel like we all could use that push to challenge ourselves to try something new when the system we've been using for so long is clearly not working for us, because I feel like we have this tendency to just stay on that hamster wheel and keep repeating the same habits over and over, even if they're not getting us the results we want. Next up, of course, we have to talk about making a plan. A big reason why I kept stopping and restarting my health and fitness journey was because I really didn't have a solid plan. I would just say like, oh, I'm gonna eat healthy this week, or I'm gonna work out this week. You know, maybe I would write it down in like a cute notebook. Maybe I'd pull out a highlighter, but that was about it. In my opinion, saying I want to work out more is not a good goal. I'm a big believer that goals should be specific and measurable. So a better goal would be, I want to work out 3 times a week. I think it's also really important to know how you're going to actually implement those habits. So opening up your calendar and figuring out when you're going to get those workouts in. And even the small details, like, are you going to take a workout class? Are you going to go to the gym? Are you working out at home? I think the biggest thing, there should be a clear yes or no whether you've achieved that goal. Now, normally on my channel, I would never give a really prescriptive plan because I try to keep things pretty open-ended. I know we all have different preferences and goals and lifestyles and schedules, but honestly, I think it'll be more helpful in this particular case to just give you an exact plan to follow, because at the start of my own fitness journey, I felt really overwhelmed and I just didn't really know where to start. From someone who's been here before, this is exactly how I would start my fitness journey if I could do it all over. Starting with the nutrition plan. This might be a hot take, but I have to speak my truth. I think everyone who is comfortable with it, as long as it's not going to impact your mental health, everyone should track their calories at some point in their life. A little bit of context for the story I'm about to tell you. I gained about 30 pounds of fat within a couple years span when I graduated college and I started working full time. I probably could have prevented all of that unwanted fat gain if I had just taken some time to become aware of how many calories I was eating. Whether you want to lose fat, gain muscle, recomp, eat more fiber, eat more protein, all of these goals require an understanding of your intake and potentially some adjustments to your intake. I also just feel like measuring your portion sizes on a food scale is so humbling and so eye-opening. I personally just track my calories with MyFitnessPal whenever I am tracking, but there are plenty of different apps out there these days. Back in the day, the only option basically was MyFitnessPal, but I digress. The way I think about tracking, it gives us information to start with. From there, we can understand where our gaps are, both in our nutrition or our calories, whatever, and what we can work on. Once you've tracked your calories for for a few days or even a couple of weeks, I would calculate your maintenance intake, figure out about how much you should be consuming if you don't want to gain or lose any weight. And then from there, you can make tweaks depending on what your goals are. If you do want to lose fat, you can decrease your intake. If you want to gain muscle, increase it a little bit. What I wish I had really focused on at the beginning of my fitness journey, protein and fiber. A really simple target I personally like to use is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day and 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories consumed. So we've got the nutrition plan out of the way. Basically just start with a couple days or a few weeks of tracking your intake, figuring out your maintenance, and then making any tweaks or adjustments based on your goals from there. Now let's get into the workout plan. My personal favorite way to do this is to start with a calendar, a beautiful, gorgeous calendar full of all of your commitments, okay? And I'm not just talking about school and work. Put those things in there as well, but I'm also talking about your commute, cleaning your house, grocery shopping, errands, all of the things that are non-negotiable in your life. From there, we can see the windows of time you actually have to work out and create a realistic workout split that'll work for you. And these are 3 sessions I think every person in the world should have in their workout split, regardless of your experience level. The first is 1 weightlifting session. So if you have the extra time, you could split this across 2 days. So do 1 upper body lift and 1 lower body lift. If you are short on time, you could just do a full body lift. Next is 1 cardio session. So this could be something as simple as a long walk or a long hike, or if you want to get fancy with it and really push that VO2 max, you could do a HIIT workout or high intensity interval training. This is one of my favorite training styles. It's just so efficient and so effective. A really good starting point is to just do equal parts work and rest. So 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. For your working time, you can choose any cardio that you enjoy. Could be a bike, running, the treadmill. You could do burpees, like body weight exercises, making sure that you're giving your all out effort during your working time, and then full rest and recovery, like literally standing doing nothing during your rest time. Do that for 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes if you're feeling crazy, and that will get the job done, okay? It is very difficult, especially if you are giving your all out full effort during your working time. The last one is 1 mobility and flexibility session every single week. This is a session that I love to stack on top of another workout when I have the time. So for example, if I've just done an upper body lift and I don't have anywhere to be, I'll just do like a 15-minute mobility flow afterwards. And I notice a huge difference in how I feel when I'm incorporating mobility into my routine, because I feel like I've gotten so sedentary the older I get. I spend most of my time sitting at my desk, which I think is very common for many of us. I do find that mobility really helps, and I think overall we neglect it because it's not like as sexy as going to the gym and lifting weights or whatever. It is still very important, and it's easy. All you need is like 15 minutes. So if you want some more workout inspiration, I'm gonna link my full week of workouts up here. Lastly, let's talk about the lifestyle plan. My recommendation would be to pick 1 lifestyle habit to help support your nutrition plan and your workout plan. Sleep is truly the foundation of any good health and fitness routine, so prioritizing especially your nighttime routine has been so helpful for me. Like if we're being honest, just going to bed earlier, that made such a huge difference. My sleep schedule was terrible back when I started getting into health and fitness, and that was part of the reason I was struggling so much to stick to my routines. Also, like, of course, it's simple but easy to forget, drinking enough water. And I also really love daily walks or some kind of daily movement that builds that momentum and helps build that habit. If you're interested in more healthy habits, I have a whole video coming out about that very soon, so stay tuned. I know you may be thinking, just 1 habit? Why do I have to pick just 1? I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I would say that tracking your intake, getting consistent with a workout routine, those are already pretty difficult and pretty time intensive as it is. In the past, I feel like I've made the mistake so many times. I honestly never learn because I still struggle with this, but overcommitting, spreading myself too thin, getting really unmotivated because I can't stick to my routines, and I start these failure cycles. We've heard it a million times before, but there's a lot of really solid research on this actually. When we're able to focus because we take on less, we are so much more likely to achieve our goals. So I'm not great at this either, but we can work on it together. Having a plan is so important as the foundation. But another spot where I really fell off at the start of my own health and fitness journey was actually implementing the plan, because unfortunately we do have to get out there and get some work done. I wish it wasn't true, but so here are the exact systems that I use to stay on track with my goals. And this is what really worked for me, especially towards the beginning of my health and fitness journey. First one is daily habit tracking, and especially for new habits that I'm trying to build, I find it very helpful to just have somewhere to check off my habits every day, because otherwise I kind of forget about them. Next is progress tracking. So I personally like to set a calendar reminder for every week or whatever to take my progress photos, my measurements. Just really helps you stay motivated to see the progress that you're making, but also if you're not making progress, then you can make tweaks to your plan. Next thing I love is weekly menu planning. So I will sit down every single week and plan out the food that I'm gonna have that week, all the meals I'm having. I find this really helps me stay on track with my nutrition goals. I actually made an entire video about my process in detail, so I will link that up here in case you want to check it out. If you are a calendar person or a planner person like I am, I find it really helpful to schedule in your workouts, your meal prep, whatever, like it's a meeting on your calendar. There's some really interesting research on this, and it's called implementation intention. And basically, when we set goals and we take the time to actually figure out when, how exactly we are going to work towards those goals, it makes us so much more likely to achieve them, which is like, no duh, but one of those simple things that you can do to make things a lot easier. Okay, we have the plan, we have the systems. Now let's talk about actually executing, because this is, of course, the hardest part. My first piece of advice would be to focus on consistency over intensity. I really do feel like showing up is the hardest part. Even if your workouts are like 5 minutes long, doing something is always better than nothing, and it helps you build that routine and habit. I remember at the beginning, I would feel so disappointed in myself if I didn't always have a sweaty session or I didn't always have a hard session. We will be increasing intensity over time, adding in more workouts, adding in more challenging workouts. But yeah, I look back on when I wasn't really working out at all, and I somehow thought I was just gonna snap my fingers and be doing like 5-hour-long sessions a week every single week, and that was unreasonable. I was setting myself up for disappointment. So the next thing is, especially for my type A perfectionist people out there, I have this bad habit of using my perfectionism as an excuse to be lazy. And I'll give you an example. I will tell myself, if I can't do a really great like hour-long session, I may as well not even bother to work out today. And that is so dumb, because obviously any movement is better than nothing, but I just am lazy and I don't want to do anything at all. So I tell myself it's perfectionism when really I'm just being lazy. But so yeah, a little bit of tough love. Don't use perfectionism as an excuse. Something is always better than nothing. I wanted to talk about how new habits can feel very awkward, but that's totally normal. I don't want to be dramatic about this, but I do feel like starting your health and fitness journey or restarting after time off is very humbling and very hard, especially in that phase where you are going through the motions, you're doing everything right, but you haven't felt results, you haven't seen results yet. I remember feeling almost like a fraud, which like you shouldn't feel that way, but I'm just being honest. That's how I felt. I remember when I first started doing cardio on the spin bike at my gym, and I would get so sweaty and so out of breath, and I had gained quite a bit of weight before that point, and I just felt really uncomfortable. I wasn't confident in my body. I genuinely felt embarrassed, and I hope you don't feel that way, but if you do, I totally understand, and I think that's normal. And I think, yeah, starting your fitness journey can be so humbling. I feel like sometimes we all just need that reminder that just because something is hard doesn't mean it's bad for us or it's harming us in some way. I just wish that I had really embraced the discomfort a little bit more, knowing that that was just a part of the process and it wasn't because I was doing something wrong. Okay, the next thing, you will fall off track, but falling off track isn't actually the problem. The problem is when you then stay off track for weeks or months after that. Things got a lot easier for me when I just accepted that I was never gonna stay like perfectly on track all the time. And that honestly wasn't even something that I should be aspiring to anyway. Over time, I developed this attitude of always being ready to jump back in, not waiting for Monday, not waiting for the next week or the next month or the new year, whatever, just knowing that things were gonna ebb and flow, and I was always ready to like restart, and that it wasn't really restarting, it was just jumping back in. My last piece of advice is a bit unfortunate, but it is true, and it's that you have to be patient. I was so impatient at the start of my fitness journey, to my own detriment, honestly, because I ended up just changing my plans so many times because I was like, oh, it's not working, after I'd only given it like a week to see if I was getting results. I feel like you need a good couple of months before you can truly assess whether a plan is working for you or not. And then of course, if it's not working, make changes. That is like probably the most important part of all of our health and fitness journeys. I mean, it's a constant evolution, but yeah, patience is really the key, honestly, because these things do take time. It's a good and a bad thing, right? Like we don't suddenly gain 20 pounds overnight, but we don't lose 20 pounds overnight either. So when in doubt, one of my favorite tools to use is just to ask yourself, what would my healthy self do? Imagining that persona, that identity, if you were already in your dream body or living your dream lifestyle, whatever, what would that person do? Because deep down, I feel like we often know exactly what we need to do, and we try and pretend that we don't, and we need to research, and we know what to do, you know? Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful. I hope you're feeling inspired, motivated, and a little bit less overwhelmed as you are starting or even restarting your fitness journey. I feel like the older we get, the less chances we have to be a true beginner at something, which in my opinion is one of the most fun but also challenging parts of life, you know? Just know that I am excited for you. I'm rooting for you. If you have any questions, leave a comment, let me know. I would love to chat and see if I can help out in any way. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every week, and I will see you next time.